Howdy, folks. Welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And today is Trinity of Truth Saturday, finally.
Yeah.
Back in action. How y'all doing?
So much better.
Good. You definitely are looking better, so I'm glad to see that you're feeling better as well. And how about yourself, Kent?
Doing excellent. I've been to Winners to get a new shirt specifically for the show. I figured, I better pick up my game on here. You know what I mean?
Right.
We have to compete against these highly brilliant cabal types. So I figured a new shirt would be nice to, go do a little dirty warfare with them. So
I mean, you can't go wrong with blue either.
Right, color.
Yep. That's my color, blue and purple.
Yep.
So anyway, tonight's real quick before we get going, folks. I know it says in the description phone calls. I'm not going to be taking phone calls tonight. I am going to be having each one of them back on individually one night where you can ask each one of them questions, because I know y'all have a bunch of questions for them. But I'm keeping Trinity of Truth as it is because it's already a jam-packed hour. So
anyway, yeah, no, I'll definitely I'll make a night with you this week, and I would really like to take the calls and have communication with everybody in the community. I was able to listen to you and Brian the other night do it, and it sure seemed like a winner to me. A really intelligent conversations going on, people being able to brainstorm and actually talk together and get their, share their wisdom. And it definitely seems like a really good thing.
I loved it. I loved hearing the stories from the community, and I loved hearing their voices. It was so wonderful.
Yeah, the response has been great. And I'm going to continue to do it. I'm definitely going to continue doing it. The response has been great. I knew at the end last night, I knew we was going to have those select callers call in and try to show out. But
it's funny too how Brian said he felt it. I did too. As soon as I
did. That's why I was like,
and I thought you did, and I thought you were riding that pretty cool, Brian. I was like, right on, Brian.
But I had my hand on disconnect waiting.
Right on. Yeah, I was like, I felt it immediately. The sound of the voice. I was like,
you could tell he was faking it.
Yes.
So that's why I was like, I was just waiting for him to say something, And I went through chat, and I'm not going to call the person out because I don't know for sure that that's who it is. But there was somebody I've never seen in chat at the very end ask, how do you call in? And then all of a sudden we get a call. So it's a younger gamer kid, if it's the one I think it is. So that's okay. We showed them some love, and they're welcome back here anytime. You just won't be able to call.
Right.
So anyway,
like your phone privileges have been revoked.
Yeah. Hopefully if that works. That's the first time I've had to try to block it. I don't know how that works. I guess we'll see. But I did remember the area code just in case. I don't remember the whole number, unfortunately, and I can't go back and watch the replay because thankfully it doesn't show the numbers on the screen. But unfortunately, y'all had to look at me most of the night last night since Brian's video was cut. So.
Oh, is that what happened? I wondered what was going on with that.
Yeah, when I started off with Zoom, it asked you video feed, it'll say host, and then it'll say panelist. Well, I usually check both of them on, and I didn't check the on the panelist because in case we had international callers come in through Zoom, I didn't want their video feed to start just in case they didn't want to be on video. So now if I have an international caller call in, I'm just going to have to be ready to stop video.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Wow, that's good to know.
It's still a work in progress. We're figuring it out.
You're doing really good.
It seems like it's pretty. It's going to be pretty successful for sure. And really good to see. Actually, and the other thing it really might be good for too. It might be good for some of the people that have a lot to bring to the community, but they don't want to be on the podcast and stuff like that. I know somebody in my mind that just crossed that I'm going to get him to phone in.
Well, that's the whole reason I did it, because I know a lot of people don't want to be on camera. And I find it peculiar, and I'm very grateful for it. But Truth in Me was the first caller to call in. and she's relatively new, but everybody else that's called in is like the old schoolers, you know, and you don't even really see them in chat much. Like some of them, I didn't even know they were still listening.
It's so awesome.
And that is like Sunshine on Sophia. Like I can't wait to get her on it for a show because she is very intelligent. She actually popped in chat last night and kept saying hi to everybody, and people just ignore her. Like I swear people get so caught up in their conversations. Like one of these days I'm gonna get me a moderator that besides Mary, because Mary works her ass off for me for nothing.
And you know what? You
Yeah.
know the staticky phone call that you got that we couldn't understand what was
Was
going
that
on?
Crystal?
I think it was Mary.
Oh, was it? Okay, maybe.
I think so. I don't know for sure. My gut was saying, I think it's Mary. But
Well,
it's hard to
I'm
hear.
thinking it was Crystal because in the comments in the chat after that, I saw that she was saying her phone was all screwed up and all that.
Oh, it was Crystal. Okay.
But regardless, and I'll just go ahead and put it out there on air because I'm going to do it. Mary, email me at milkywayweekly@gmail, and I'm going to send you a T-shirt of your choice. So
Aww.
Right on.
she deserves at least that.
Awesome. Yay,
Yeah, Mary
Mary.
is an amazing soul for sure.
Yes,
You know,
she is.
She's very giving, and she's like, she doesn't ask for much in return, which is what we all need to do. You know, you give freely. You know, the more you give freely, the more you will receive, because that's the way it works.
Well, I mean, it's not like we're making money to come out here and every Saturday night and take our Saturdays. We're doing it for the love of the community.
Yep.
That's true. I found a nickel on the floor actually before I came to put on the show tonight, so I'm actually up 5 cents. So yeah.
Right on. That's awesome.
Doing pretty good actually. Feeling.
I mean, you but take all you can get right now. Are you still working?
Oh yeah, I've been working too much, and I was trying this new gig out, doing driving and stuff like that, because I'm a construction guy, but it's been all right, but it really takes up its time. It's weird hours. It's all over the place. But I thought I would give it a little bit of a go for a little bit of change. But I have something that hit me when I was driving, and it's what I'm going to do. But it's going to take me a little bit to get to there, but not too long. And when we're off, I'll tell you kind of what I've got for a business idea, because it also involves giving a lot back to there's a couple of animal rescues and stuff like that. I know this lady that works feverishly over in Korea saving dogs, and she has to deal with some seriously harsh environments, and she's just an inspiration of a lady. And they save these dogs from the meat markets, and then they get them over to Canada and to the US and stuff like that. So I'm going to work this next business plan that I'm going to be doing to be able to donate a considerable amount of money, so that we can actually bring these dogs over and put a face to them, each one that we save. Because I think sometimes that inspires people more when you can see something happening. Yeah, and I'm just a big animal softie. So I mean, you know what I mean. Like for me, I it's kind of like my calling right now. So I've got a pretty good business plan that can sustain me, I think, and also really help with this kind of donation to a specific really good cause. So we'll see how it goes.
Oh, that's that's one thing. Like I said, I'm starting that higher mind training on Monday, and it's actually kind of working out to my benefit, because I was going to include that as part of the telepathy training, or workshop, not necessarily training, but just trial and error. But that's kind of for me, because I've got to hustle this week, and that's one thing I will assure you all. I promise you, the details for the Arkansas Crystal trip by the end of the week.
Perfect.
So
I'm going to come to that for sure. No matter what. So yeah, I've actually, after, I did this big property purchase and stuff like that, I've been kind of getting myself back into a more normal state again of financial and stuff like that. It costs a lot, but there's a big major plan for that, too. I think in the future too, there might be an animal rescue there on my property there too. So I got a lot of, I have a lot of things that are actually going. And you know, that's one thing that's so important right now. And I'm gonna make that jump. I need to make that jump right now. I've felt it in my heart. I've been hit with it in my heart that, you know, I've got to follow the higher path, I guess you'd say, you know, take that leap of faith and make those changes so that what I do in my financial business aspect of the world is for a good cause and not just, you know, for my for my pocketbook or something like that. And I feel like taking that leap of faith will make everything even greater, you know, just allow the power of the universe of there is a real power behind doing the right thing. There is really a power behind it. And you can make it, you know, if you're not following that path, you can get by and you get by, but you know, you won't get that real boost behind you. And I believe that the people that come to this community, like, if it's not us that can take that jump, that leap of faith, that everything, like, you know, how Trina's out doing healings right now and really showing the miracle of healings. And I've done healings, you know, before for a while. It's kind of what I did, but it's not real, you know, I do my healings in a different way these days, but you know, it's you that's healing yourself. But it's the healers that get out to spark the energy and everything that you require to do that. And so, you know, I'm inspired actually by what I see here. The few will become the many if we lead the way, but it's really important that we walk the walk.
You gotta, people don't know how to do these things unless they're shown. I didn't know I could do these things until I was shown.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we hold each other's hands. And like you said, you hold space and you set a frequency and you set an intention. And I've seen the fastest way to set those types of fulcrums is to get yourself as a practitioner into a frequency of utter absolute gratitude or awe or love. It's like, it's got to be a really high frequency. Sorry, there's a fly out in the house from the dogs running back and forth a million times. I'm like, I'm gonna get you. So yeah, but it's about, like I said, we're not actually doing the healing, but we're into a resonance frequency that we're holding for them to attrain to. And boy, I've seen amazing things happen through those frequencies of just gratitude. When I was at school, my teachers would go, how can you hold this energy? And I was like, I'm really not holding their energy. I'm holding my energy at a certain frequency where I am so immersed in gratitude and thanks, knowing that everything in the universe that needs to come and support them has just answered my call. And that's kind of all it takes. And then you just guide them to find their own tools and keys, and they unlock their own doors and do their own work. But you hold the ground for them. And you
anytime you do a healing, they're the ones that does the healing. You just got them.
You're holding that space and you're holding space for them. And you're kind of working with them as a partnership, you know, saying, hey, I'm here to help you walk through this.
It's more of them believing the process.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, I've seen people that really do come in with a strong foundation of belief. That's when I, as a practitioner, get to see like miracles. And wow, that's always such a great day.
It is awesome. It is awesome. Yeah.
It's so bad. Nothing like it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And when you see, because we are in the sea of creation, if you want to call it, you know, when we leave here, when we transition out of this meat suit plane into the next, we're still in the sea of creation. You know, I mean, we are, you know, we are Well, we are the children of creation. So that's what we are. I mean, as a
Mhm.
spiritual being, and that entails multitudes of things, you know, and you know, sometimes we are warriors, sometimes we're healers, sometimes we're, you know,
Oh,
and then you can see the aspects of it that, you know, get,
mhm,
I don't know, virus or parasitically infected, and that's, you know,
mhm,
that's what we struggle against here when we see what we struggle against in this world, like, you know,
mhm.
like the any evils that we see in this world, it's like it's out of balance. It's you know, it's trying to go after the unnatural. It's why we're supposed to be observers. It's why we're in this world but not of this world. It's all of those things. Once you put this world above the natural flow, it's going to break and clog down in anything. It's like, you know, it doesn't work, because natural creation works. Everything flows and everything is you know, together. And you know, I actually say, like, obviously we're so bombarded with nonsense here, like, you know, like right now we're bombarded with the coronavirus nonsense and all of the other nonsenses. When you see the pattern of unnatural, look at the pattern of it. It's a repeating cyclical pattern. It's because if they keep us in fear, then we stay in fear and we transmit that fear to all others. It's like dropping the fear in the ocean and then letting it spread like an oil slick. You know, these are the reasons. It doesn't really particularly matter which fear tactic is chosen, whether it be a virus or a war or you know, or grief or just any or you know, any type of violence or anything that you know, and it's on all levels. It's in your personal level, it's in your family level. It's you know, these things are operating because the programs are sliding their ways into all of these aspects. But you know, try to just see what they are as just fear. Try to, when you understand that you're a spirit guiding this meat modem, and that really, yes, things can hurt your meat modem in this aspect, but they can't really touch you unless you allow them to touch you. And you know, that's when you can grow out of these patterns and stuff like that. And
You
there'll
know
be
what?
another one. Like, there's another one coming after this.
Always.
They're yeah, so
You know what I've been seeing lately? Um, and I sent these videos to Karen. They were on this quantum theory about E8 and uh, the crystalline grid and the crystalline crystal that basically, this is what I've seen for years, and this is the science that supports what I saw. Remember I told you I always thought we looked like little Sims characters with the little crystal over our head
yes.
and it animates the avatar? I've been seeing this since before The Sims came out. When The Sims came out, I was like, that's exactly what I was seeing. And that's why I was so fascinated with that game. I was like, that's very interesting. So I've always seen this with with beings, and we're projecting out of these crystals that are above us in a way higher dimension. Well, the E8 theory says that it's in the eighth dimension. So our true crystalline source that's animating this body is coming from the eighth dimension, from the crystalline grid. So the eighth dimensional crystalline grid patterns obviously are what's projecting everything here. So if that's the true projection source, what I'm seeing is that actually from when we project out of the crystal, it's coming onto this matrix. And this matrix has like, it's the artificial matrix. It's not in alignment with the true crystalline grid. And I keep seeing, if we can start connecting and understanding that everything that's here, we're creating from there, I just see us being able to actually manifest through the crystalline grid and bypass the matrix altogether.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
And I wish Karen would come on and talk more about it, because she could probably explain it so much better. Because I just know what I see in spirit, and I try to find things that explain what I see. And when I saw that, it just floored me so much. And it was done, and it's called E8, and it's basically the flower of life template that we see everywhere, but it's about particle plasma connection of it, which is the crystalline part of it, which is the true essence of what we really are.
Karen's always got an open invite. I figure she's probably been busy with the move and everything. Hopefully she'll be back on here one day, I hope.
Yeah, it's such beautiful information. And like I said, there are people that could explain it so much better than I. But I do see this as one of the foundational keys of our success.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah,
Like
I
you
should.
see in too, Kit, that this whole virus thing that they've made, they've twisted things and created things that aren't natural and stuck them
Right.
together, and it's not natural. So
You're right.
anything that's not truly natural is not going to fully have its full power in the crystalline grid, because it's not coming from the original codes. So,
Yeah, and
we as crystalline beings, we can literally, I think we can tell our bodies how to only bring forth that which is in resonance with the organic grid, and literally start to push against the artificials. And the artificials are never going to have the strength of the originals.
absolutely
There's
not.
something about coming and connecting to our organic crystalline structure and
Yes.
saying, anything that's not of that can't touch this.
Hence why they have to use all of their magics, we'll call them.
Yes.
They have, everything is done in a basis of artificial, like these viruses that you're talking about. Yes, synthetic attachments,
Yes.
But no, they never ever can actually touch the true essence of natural, and that's exactly what it is. And everything in everything that is taken as being this great knowledge, the knowledge of the Freemasons, all of their, so-called, whatever you want to call it, like satanic magic that they practice, which is being practiced on us as a whole scale. Like everything that these beings do in the cabal and then the controlling aspect of this world live in the artificial magic world. They take artificial, synthetic, and wrap it and attach it to natural so that we, behave in it. But it basically is a giant con job. We still have to buy into it and power into it to empower it. It's not really powering anything. It's making slight adjustments. It's like school is programming of the ball. School is actually artificial magic. Most of it that's being taught within the mainstream, first world school systems. It's the money system. All of these, is there anything faker than money?
Reality.
Yes, it's a fake reality. It's an artificial reality. It's based completely upon these magics, and these weird beings, people, whatever, that buy into it, that think it's, we've all met them. The ones that, it's like a calling that goes out, it's being drawn into this world. It's like, there's really nothing in this world other than, love, relationship, understanding, family, like helping, like all of these things are really at the essence, the only things of value that you can possibly learn. Now, everything else is kind of a false construct, and it's just, it's really not that hard to break it down. We just have to be the leading way of breaking it down, because we're essentially fighting ourselves. Because when people are trying to promote the material system, like everything that we've learned, you know what I mean? Like the problem that people have is the acceptance that everything that you've learned is actually artificial. It's actually upside down when you're growing in this world. Like, you know, like if you love a professional sport, you can love an aspect of something, the health, the the spirit in it. Like when you put your spirit into something, like when you actually want to go after something, that's the only value. But like when we're watching like other professional athletes or professional musicians or anything, and we're basing anything of value that we hear upon that ego of that person, that's where we've gone wrong. If you hear a beautiful song, that song flowed from creation and just came out through that person.
Yeah.
You were never supposed to idolize that person, because what that person even gave you really truly wasn't theirs. That's the unnatural ego of this place. You can love the creative energy that produced what was beautiful, but beyond that, you have to let it go. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care who you take in that aspect. If you really look at it, that's what's happening there. So
I'm curious to why you mentioned culling earlier, because that seems to be a word that's coming into a lot of realities lately. You know, I was talking to Wayne last week about the culling, and me and him were both in agreement to that's what you're witnessing take place worldwide right now, is the culling.
yeah, I mean, you know, separation, separating. It's that whole wheat from the chaff type of thing, if you want to take a biblical reference of it and stuff like that. And I gotta tell you, you're not here to save everybody. You're not.
You're here to save yourself.
You're here to save yourself. You're here to save yourself. And exactly. Because that's honest to God, the best that you can do. And
you know, I was thinking, I had this come to mind, and you know, it brings into mind that this is a prison planet. Well, you know, there's 7-8 billion people on this planet at the present moment. And you know, I wonder if people would have been able to fulfill their enlightenment while they were here. I wonder if each one of those people, like one of those souls, may inhabit many bodies, and they're all trying to get it right while they're here. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've thought
And
about
if one of them gets it right, then boom, that soul's free. But meanwhile, while all these souls aren't getting it right, that's why the population keeps going up and up and up and up.
Could be.
absolutely.
I wonder too, Brian, like you said, there's certain cycles in history, and we've had these callings before. And it seems like when these callings happen, there's lots of people. So I wonder if that's a prerequisite for a calling.
I mean, you know, look at the way it is. I mean, with this 7-8 billion people, like I was saying, look at the percentage of people right now that's actually waking up. So I guess it does take a huge population, because if there was a fraction of this population, we wouldn't be making a dent.
Nope. That's why I was wondering. I was like, I always made sense to me. I was like, why would these things happen in these certain times, and what would be present for these big, huge things to happen? Seems like the biggest part about it is large populations.
I saw where Gerald Clark did a video on something that I talked about last year, and he was talking about, oh God, I just had a brain fart. What was
I hate when that happens.
I know it'll come back to me.
Gerald Clark?
It's the 2%. You remember how I said last year we were talking about, I was like, I think that's the magic number. I think if we can obtain that 2% of an enlightened individuals, enough to overtake their 2%, that's the key.
Yeah, it would seem more realistic that there would be, you know, there's the complete opposite ends of the spectrum, and then there's, you know, a lot in between, and it's not like an evil state. like, even people that perform evil are not necessarily evil. Like they can be perform. Basically, they are carrying out a program, and they are taking a program to a different level. Because really, if you really wanted to get down to the nuts and bolts of creation and what flows to create, there's so many things in this plane that go against it that it's almost overwhelming. It has to be a process. That's why I think that everyone, and I don't do this enough, I can tell you that much. I should do it more, but we need to take recognition of when we unlock one of those natural programs, when we shake one of those natural programs, whatever it is, so that we can understand it, because it's insane actually how much one thing that you unlock, you now need to changes so many aspects of your life if you truly want to keep that unlocked. You know what I mean? And this is why people going through spiritual awakenings look so bizarre to everybody else, because it's not just one little aspect. The one aspect that you've opened up and you understand now changes many aspects. So now you have to go through this bizarre thing of retraining. Like, say you have children and you realize at some point in time something that you yourself is responsible for programming onto your children. When you awaken to that and you understand it now, you see how crazy this pattern is now, because now you want to basically go and unlock that in everybody else. But people will look at you like they won't recognize you because you taught a program. You were part of the program. Now you're not part of the program. And this is like, if you do want to take like a movie like The Matrix or something like that, that's what we live in. Like, it's like, so the unnatural, or call it the evil, has so many roadblocks, because now you see what you didn't see before. But it would now use every single person that you ever put that program on against you to get you to retake that program.
Yes.
Very, very tricky, interesting thing. That's why these fear tactics and stuff like that, that's why they work, because a certain percentage will always buy the program, will always, like, do you know how many people literally buy into the mainstream and the news and live by it? It's literally like, it's their daily Bible, basically. What comes over those news medias. And you can see it, like, I see it laid out, say this coronavirus. Every single one they use the number 33. 33 people, 33%, 1 in 33, because these Freemasons that make this up, utilize these numbers as a sequence so that they can all see and understand what the bullshit that they're playing. You see, it's like a language that they use, and if you see the language of the Freemasons or the Cabal, then you can see how you could basically know everything is a lie, like from your from your 9/11s to your all of these viruses. Every single one of these viruses, if you go back, actually, you will see that 33, 33, 33, 30. It's over and over and over. And it's literally, I can't figure out if it's a mocking, like to try to understand if we're really that stupid, or if
I think it's how they communicate.
It's communication, it's language.
How they
right?
communicate and code.
Yeah.
I went to the patent office earlier, and they've scrubbed a bunch of those records. Things that I went in and looked before that has been scrubbed, because I was looking for the coronavirus one. And, there's the Wuhan, there's many forms of the coronavirus. It's not just one distinct virus.
Mhm.
And you know, I was talking to my mom about the Bill Gates one, and the Bill Gates has a patent on the coronavirus, but it's more of for an inoculation or a vaccination. It's not
Yeah.
for the virus itself. But
Well,
still,
that's
that was I think they did that in 2017. So, you know, it's not like it's not been known about or prepared for.
The thing is that what's kind of blowing my mind is they want to prepare a coronavirus vaccination
Mhm.
like they have for the flu
yeah,
virus.
that'll be bad.
Okay, well, why would you waste your money? We still have the flu.
Yeah.
The
It's
shot doesn't
unbelievable
work.
how
I
many
mean, everybody
vaccinations they
still
put in
gets the
these poor
flu.
children these
So
days.
what is
I
the
saw a
point?
figure where 7 out of 8 people that died from the flu had the flu shot.
That's what I'm saying. The statistics of the people that are dying and having serious complications are the only ones that have had the inoculations. So when it comes to the flu, and the same thing with this mutating coronavirus, you can't create an immunization or an inoculation for something that changes.
Mm.
And it's
I'll tell you, before I get a vaccination, they might as well go ahead and put a bullet in my head. Because
I won't do it. And if they do, I'm going to tell them I want a personal medical disclaimer stating that they're going to pay me a lot of money if there's any damage to my avatar.
I can't take it for religious reasons.
I can't take it for literally because I'm allergic to that crap.
I'm just gonna say I can't take
The
it.
last time they gave me shots, Brian, was for college, and I was in renal failure within 18 months.
Well, my mom, you know, thank God she's not ever going to get the flu shot again, but she got it and it's the sickest flu she's ever had and she's still sick.
Yep.
Because we're volunteering ourselves to the cabal plan of.
You know,
Big.
too, you guys are not supposed
But
to
you
go
know, we're
around
also
anybody.
volunteering ourselves every time we walk into McDonald's too, because I mean, or any of these places. In all reality, we really are, because they are completely, the high levels of these places are completely unchecked. And checked by what? Who's going to check it? The military? The police? Because they're there to protect us? Yeah, right. Those are absolute. If you want to talk about MK Ultra and stuff, when you go into the military, you're MK Ultra. When you go into the police force, you are MK Ultra. Every single one. So the only hope you have with police forces and militaries are for the ones that awaken within it. That's it.
You
Because
know,
if they're following the scripted program of the government, and then you've got your other systems of the government, the ones that work for the tax collectors and the IRS, it's all a cabal mind fuck.
well, that's what I was going to say. Case in point being, you know, the U.S. government wants you to think right now unemployment's at the lowest and all that. They don't take into account those figures of all the people coming off unemployment. They don't take those into account. And so they're saying that there's 500,000 Americans that's unemployed and homeless at the moment. And that's from the Department of Homeland Security. Well, you can go to DCS, Department of Child Services, and they have a number currently at the moment. There's 1.5 million children alone that are homeless.
Yeah. Well, if the US, Canada, all of these really controlled countries had their way, we would all be working government jobs. We would all be within the system. There would be absolutely no free thinking outside of the government system.
That's why they're pushing everybody inner city.
This is the major agenda. This is part of the one new world order, right? We don't see it. It's in the incremental steps of eliminating.
It's not an incremental steps. It's already implemented.
Oh, absolutely. You know, like even a guy like me, they don't want me owning a little carpentry company or something like that. No. They want me within their government programs. They want me in their government schools. They want me paying the bloody taxes to be within the system where they automatically take your taxes. They automatically take absolutely everything from you. They don't want you growing your own food. They literally want a stupider, like robots. That is the goal, overall goal of it. And this
Overall goal is to eliminate us and replace us with robots.
Exactly. Well, this is where we, as a community,
How can that rationally make
for the
sense?
government within this community, and I know people will, and I'm not saying
No, I know a few that I talk to work for the government, but how can that rationally make sense for us as humans to think that we're going to be better off as cyborgs? How does that even make sense in somebody's head?
Well, you get to live forever.
Not just that.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
I think, Brian, so many people now are being raised and so many people are in jobs where they're not in the real world anymore anyways. They're so virtual that they're not in the real world. So for them, it seems probably like just a normal phase of transition.
Oh, and you know something, this agenda goes on all things. Like, I will never work for the government. I will never, ever work in any of those positions. I can't.
Have you ever seen Ready Player One?
Which is?
Huh?
Oh, I was going to say something, but you know, they even use, call it the enemy, the whatever, the programming. It even uses the social media, okay? Like, for example, I have a very good friend. He owns a business. Very awake person. Pretends not to be nearly as awake as he is. You know why? Because he can't be found out on social media. Because then the business goes, bye-bye, you're a weirdo, you're waking up, you're not part of the system. And so for myself, even this week, I was faced with something where it's like, well, you can't be on Facebook, you can't do your posts on Facebook. This will affect the company if you're part of the company. This is a small company. I understand it. I understand from everybody's viewpoint on it why they're doing that, you know, because I understand it's fearful. You don't want to lose, you know, business and clients and all of those things. You've grown this business, you put your heart and soul into it. You know that I'm a good person. I know that you're a good person. But the problem is, you see, you can't be yourself. You can't speak out against the government system or anything, no matter what aspect of it is, or they'll have to cut you. You know what I mean? You can't be part of that because, so these are the hard choices that we have to make as awakening spiritual beings.
All I can say is stay true to that.
Is your soul worth anything? Is there any business? Is there any amount of money? Is there anything here that's worth your soul? Ask
What's
yourself.
that, Trina?
I said, I actually forgot. It's okay.
Okay.
My dog distracted me.
Like me.
Like, oh.
Brain fart.
Yeah, totally. All I know is that the only thing that's going to matter in the long run is if, because I see everything starting to collapse, and I've known for a very long time. I always heard that we're going to win, but how it would be done would be very interesting to see.
It's going to be ugly.
It's going to be hard too.
Yeah.
But I think that the people, they've been so pushed into all these government jobs and, you know, the medical and all this stuff and all of it. I truly do. I see it's collapsing. This is the age of Aquarius. Every single time you come into a new age, everything changes. So everything is starting to fall apart, and they're trying to push us into control and technology and turning our bodies over to computers. Many of us won't ever do that. So, and for whatever reason, I have a feeling that something might come from the sun or from the earth that starts to deal with the technology.
I'm telling you,
when that happens, that means all the governments are going to shut down. Everything's going to stop. Everything's going to shut down. And then all these people that gave all of their faith and their trust and their careers and their lives to these systems, when they fall apart and they don't care what it does to you as a person that worked there for 35 years, but now your pension's gone, your salary's gone, everything's gone, and they're not going to restart back up. All those people are going to be the ones that are sad that they didn't have anything that they could turn to that they did on their own.
Absolutely.
You know, I hope I'm wrong, but you know that the micronova keeps popping up for me, and
Me
it's
too.
starting to come back into the reality again. I'm starting to see
too.
other people talk about it, and you know, here lately with all the confirmations I'm having, like I said, I hope I'm wrong about that one, but that seems to
I
make
don't
the
know
most
how
sense.
bad it'll be. I mean, but I do think that this is going to happen. Even Janet Napolitano years ago, she said we had an imminent kill shot on its way.
Yep.
Imminent, which means there is no getting out of that.
Yep.
So, and she said that one time, and we haven't seen her speak publicly since. So I think she slipped out a big oopsie bomb on that
Oopsie
one.
bomb.
She
Yeah,
might
big
be
one.
underground.
She hasn't talked since.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, whatever it may be, it will be, you know. And it doesn't, none of it changes the fact that, you know, we need to let go of the systems and go inward and understand who we are
You know what
more and more.
saw? I
Yeah.
had a vision last night, and it was because I was thinking about all this stuff and thinking about like Avatar and all this crazy stuff. And I keep for the past like 3 weeks, you know, all the talk about the big trees, and do people think what Brian was talking about at Devil's Point or whatever? Do they
Devil's
think it's
Tower.
I do think it's a tree, and I saw them when they chopped it down. They did some kind of plasma weapon that made it turn to stone. I literally saw that with my mind. These
Yeah,
enormous beings. I mean bigger than a mountain. These beings were huge.
yeah.
And I don't know if they were angels or if they were aliens, or I don't know what they were. They were huge. They towered. They're literally, the mountaintops would be at some of their waists. They were huge beings, and they were just hacking all the trees down. And I saw that the tree grid system that used to be on this planet was how everything in nature stayed balanced and shot energy to one thing from another, was through this massive root system of these trees. And the trees covered almost all the land. And
Yeah, the whole
none of
entire
the
thing was
vegetables
giant
and
trees.
fruit, none of it would burn because it was all filtered light under this canopy of most beautiful things. So these big, huge beings came, chopped all these trees down, and they erected the artificial man-made constructs, pyramids, obelisks, and took away the natural grid system of the trees and replaced it by using it, harnessing through stone and technology.
Could you imagine if there was one of their dwellings still around? God, that thing would be freaking huge.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
don't think they were, I don't think they
Mountains.
stayed here. I think they literally were brought here to do this destruction, and then they left.
Hmm.
And I don't know
You know.
why, because I mean, there's so much crap about Nibiru's not even real. I literally heard they were from planet Nibiru.
Yeah, I mean, anything the way from my experience at least, the crazier it sounds, probably the more true it is.
You know, and then and I was thinking about all that stuff and hearing about all that, and then I was thinking about the Avatar movie, because you know they show that big tree, how it connected everything, and that was like the visual they were giving me, so I could grasp the concept in my head. And when they were showing me the Avatar, that was what I heard. They were like, "There's more truth in this about your history than you understand." And I was
Well, the
like,
trees are connected to everything. They're rooted into
They
the
are.
earth. They produce oxygen for us. I mean, I
but
love
it
trees.
was very it was literally like they were the living grid system, and the trees could talk from one end of the world to the other end of the world instantly. Somehow we
Absolutely.
were
Oh, they've
connected.
got studies now where they say that trees communicate with each other.
They do.
Yeah.
Trees, when you look in a tree's fingerprint is like your fingerprint.
It's unique.
Yes. Each tree has a unique fingerprint. I mean, yeah, and these you see what's left of these ancient trees in different places. I mean, they look like mountains now, or stone. They're petrified. Like, what caused that petrification?
And I don't think that, I think it was like how you burn a tree to
something.
make sure it won't grow. You know how you burn certain branches so they won't ever grow?
Right.
That was the purpose, to make sure it could never ever grow.
Exactly. Like even if you have a fire pit, and at the end of the fire pit, you see the embers that haven't burned, but then you let those petrify over time. They're going to be like a rock.
Yep. I've got a piece of petrified wood from North Dakota.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, that isn't that. It's like it's like steel.
it's
So hard.
well, it looks like a crystal. It's like a geode or rock.
Yeah.
You know, mine's polished into an egg, the one I bought, but it's beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that, like,
Everything within creation is natural. That's the thing. It is natural. Like the artificial, but even the artificial has to use the natural. It has to use some
but
aspect.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think that this trying to get us away from the natural grids and the natural powers of the natural earth energies.
Yes.
I think this has been going on for thousands and
Oh,
thousands of years.
more than thousands of years. Yes.
And I think it's like, if we could start to return back to those Garden of Eden principles, man, we will all be better off for it. Because, you know, I've been thinking a lot too about the archons. And archons, to me, they've always shown me were personalities within your own head, and that they were connected to the zodiac. And it's like showing me like we're like puppets on strings. And these
Right.
archons, you know,
Aren't we?
affecting us by where the sun's at, and moon's at, where it is in your stuff. And it's all so connected, just like the stars are connected and the earth is connected. It's like the trees were connected like that. And all of these archonic energies, they have to have a strong door to strongly affect us the way that they do. And I'm seeing that this is totally being done through parasites and bacteria. And I've been doing a lot of research, and there's certain acidophilus that you can put in your stomach, and it literally changes the way your brain is. So like cures depression, and it can also make you depressed. So it's so amazing to me to see the correlation between the flora and the bacterias and stuff that's going on within our bodies, and especially our stomachs, having a direct effect to how we can relate to our bodies, our environment. This is what gives us these cravings. This is what throws you into all the bad habits and patterns, because you're not feeding you, you're feeding an archon.
Yes. If you wanted to give a specific parasite to a person, what would be a good way to do it?
Your food.
Vaccines.
Oh yeah.
Food, vaccines,
Pump it right in
oxygen.
there. There's nothing good about vaccines.
And it's in all of the above too. They're pumping it in all the above. The water, the oxygen, the food, it's in all the above.
Yeah.
All the above. Absolutely. It's in all the above. Think about how many times you just have, or, you know, you know, substances like alcohol, substances like, you know, you eat a Big Mac. Tell me you don't feel depressed after you eat a Big Mac. Something happens to you. I haven't had one for years. I mean, well, I don't eat meat, but I mean, even like, it doesn't matter
I haven't had
what.
one since I bought the one that's still in my cabinet from 2002 that still hasn't degenerated. And I can put it out right now, and that fly won't touch it.
What is it, right?
It's Frankenfood.
Have you still got that?
I said, it's Frankenfood.
Have you still got it?
Yeah.
We'll go get it.
Hold on, I'll find it. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm kidding. I did that before. I only kept mine like 6 months, but basically it was, the pickle was a little shriveled up. Other than that, it looked exactly the same.
Yes. And their French fries are the same. All of that stuff is like,
Go
get you. It's not real. It's synthetic food. Yeah.
Have you a Big Mac?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm on my mom trying to get her to eat better. She eats that crap.
I think that's what all this, you know, in some of the awakening and some of the, you know, trying to eat more natural and stuff like that. That's what I think a lot of this, like this Beyond Meat stuff is. It is an attack against going to eating natural. Like we're starting to understand not to put this crap in our bodies, but that doesn't mean to change over to another synthetic.
It blows my mind to even fathom that a vegetarian, vegan, whatever you want to call it, would even put that in their body.
Yeah.
Check it out. Bun.
Look at that.
Sesame seeds still on it.
Dun, 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 dun.
That is made of plastic. That Big Mac is made of
It's
plastic.
hard
That's
as a
what it
rock.
is.
If I throw this at your head, I might hurt you. This is literally from 2011. Flies
That's
won't touch it.
unbelievable, man. That Big Mac is then 10 years
It's still
old.
there.
Looks just like you just bought it. That's
It's
ridiculous.
Frankenfood.
Yeah.
Frankenfood.
Sure.
This is Frankenfood. I mean, this is from, look at that, 2011. This stuff don't break down.
There's a reason you can get a McDonald's cheeseburger cheaper than an apple. And there you go.
Yeah.
Listen,
Because it stays with
it's
you, folks.
plastic. It sounds like the kids' food you buy at the you know, those toys? You buy the plastic food, it sounds just like that. It don't even stink. I've had this for since 2011.
Well, I
It's
saw
freaking
a
crazy.
really disturbing interview by
That's
one of
crazy.
like high-level Freemasons talking about what they do to the food, and it's just, yeah.
I know one thing.
Swear
If
to God,
anybody,
we all think that it, like, you know, just like, you know, eat fruit or something off of a tree, like stay as natural as you can. You will waken just from that, you know, and these years of putting this frankenfood in our body has affected us in a way that it's hard to go back to natural eating. As simple of a concept as that sounds, like it, you know, so yeah, it changes us, you know, it changes.
I do. And, you know, I think it's like, you know, people get so frustrated because we look at these problems and we think, my God, they're so bad. How can we do anything to even make a difference? I'm telling you guys, you know, just by us having these conversations and by certain people like Brian, you planted gardens, or people are starting to plant things, just the smallest things, even if you grow a sunflower, you know, just the simplest things, they make a huge difference. Because the Lord always told me, I was like, you put a pretty big, you know, thing on my plate saying I come here to be like Jesus, and all these other people are supposed to be like Jesus. We're supposed to walk around and heal people and heal the earth and do all these wonderful things. That's a pretty tall order. And he said, you know, he says, even if you didn't do like anything that people could really see or measure, like on a public social scale, he says, just your vibration, just because you're aware, and just because you want things to be better, and just because you want people to heal, and just because you want to see the children be able to play out in the streets like they used to without fear of them being taken away by a pedophile. You know, all of these wonderful thoughts and these prayers and these intentions and the visions of a better future. He said, just your presence is affecting the grid.
Absolutely.
I could hear the emotion in your voice.
It's
Absolutely.
true.
That's all. Yeah, and it's so true. And that's what it is.
So everybody's making a big difference, even if you don't think so.
Yep.
Your heart is the sound that's
Every action, like I said, every thought is a ripple in the universe.
in the ocean of motion. Yeah.
Yep. So go out there and make some waves, folks.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, we've been an hour. Y'all got a final thought and we'll wrap her up.
Well, what Trina just said was a great final thought. And I think the whole premise of this whole show, what I feel coming through the universe is about just the same thing, making those changes to yourself. Yeah. Grow a flower, love a flower, do whatever, but you know, but bring things back to the natural flow of things, you know, let go some of this artificial and come back to who you truly are. And you know, it's a process, but each little thing makes a huge difference. You're right.
Absolutely. Well, cool.
For me, my final thought is that the archons that live within us, they're because of how we're eating and thinking and how we're feeding the archons that are within us. So like I said, these little small changes of making better food choices, trying to eat more live food instead of Franken food, these little tiny things, if you could try to maybe grow some of your own salads, so you could have some fresh live food that you've actually grown.
Yep.
These things are going to make a big difference in your body over time, and then that will affect your mind, and you'll stop having less of the archonic issues of cravings and, discontent and these negative, darker energies that constantly require to be fed. And we'll start getting more into the higher vibrating frequencies of earth and starting to heal our body, mind, and belly.
Yeah, I'll say just this real quick because it popped in my mind. If you're feeling all these aches and the growing pains and tired and all that, that's because you are ascending, you are processing and
Yeah.
and intertwining all this information. So try to look at it that way. Yeah, suffer through the pain; it will be worth it. I assure you.
Yeah. Sometimes when you have clearances and you actually are, I don't know, for no better terms, deliverance or whatever with the archons, you sometimes may have some flu-like symptoms or some cold-like symptoms. Just let those go and pass. Don't freak out. You're not. You don't have some virus going to get you. Just just work its way out. And actually, sometimes you can actually almost feel it coming out. Well, show at the door.
I'm telling you, like I said, I've learned to go and meditate and do that clearing,
Food.
clear out that body and bring in that golden healing light. And shoo, I feel good after that.
Absolutely.
Or at least better.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
cool.
it's magic.
It is. Well, thanks I'm glad to have you both back here. Hopefully we'll be back again next week, folks, next Saturday. I don't have anything scheduled for tomorrow as of yet. Maybe here, you never know, something pops up, but I will be back Monday night. I'm not sure on the time I'm going to do the higher mind training because I'm trying to accommodate the UK, Australia, and the States. So I'm going to try to find that sweet spot. I may come out with a little short video tomorrow just to tell you what time it'll be. That way you can prepare. And like I said, if anybody wants a copy of the Higher Mind book, which is the Guide to Universal Consciousness, just send me an email and I'll send you a PDF of that. So
awesome.
Oh, cool. I'll do that.
Cool. So until then, either tomorrow or Monday, be the frequency you want to receive, folks.
Absolutely.
I love you all. Have a wonderful night.